Today I am working on part 4 of the Plant Monster story. So instead of Rick was still in bed, Rick had barely climbed from bed wiping bits of crust from his eyes and stretching sore muscles as he plodded across his bedroom when he overheard Faye babbling to herself through the thin crack afforded by his slightly cracked open door. I really like the structure of afforded by, but that doesn't really fit with the image I'm trying to create. It wasn't it was a familiar enough noise. I don't really want to say noise, but it was a familiar enough noise especially since I'm thinking especially ever since they'd planted the seed. But he couldn't remember a time he'd ever he'd heard her up so early. I mean, she's the youngest. She has the least responsibility, so she would probably sleep in longer than anybody. So we could say the girl slept like a log. And usually had to be practically rolled out of her bed unless Elm made except on days when Elm made pancakes. Something. We'll have a food there. He could hear. That's we. We don't want to say he could hear. We want to just show the sensory detail. Soft noises from Elm working in the kitchen downstairs. Rattled their way. How about Elm's ministrations in the kitchen downstairs rattled their way up the creaky stairs. But he couldn't maybe along with, what would she be cooking? Maybe bread? Cornbread, because they grow corn. The distinct sweetness of freshly baked cornbread. That's good. Sensory details. I think ministrations is the right word. I think that's what I want. Ministrations meaning. Let's check. Services of a minister, the provision of assistance or care. The kitchen was made spotless by the ministrations of a cleaning lady. So I think it fits. Synonyms. Let's look at synonyms real quick. Attention, treatment, help, assistance, aid, care, services, succor, relief. Yeah, see, we'll see. I think it fits. She's taking care of the food. She's taking care of the children. She's her care for the food. Ministrations, her something. It's 99% the right word. Let's just mark it. I'll come back to it. Rattled. I like rattled their way up the creaky stairs. Along with the distinct sweetness of freshly baked cornbread. That's great. We've got sensory details. The girls have I don't know. What would they wear? I feel like they would wear their like boots in the house, wouldn't they? I mean, we're talking about a farmhouse. We're talking about wooden floors, splinters. But they would also have really filthy boots because they're tromping around in fields. You don't want that in your house. That's not really important. But that would add a nice bit of movement to him. Maybe they just have some kind of slippers. I'm not going to worry about that. So, it was Rick's favorite. And he doubted You know, he doubted she'd chosen to make it that morning by chance. Knowing his wife, the cornbread was, you know, a soothing balm. Not a soothing balm. Was a the corn. She's making his favorite thing because she's sending him into town, which he's going to be traveling. He's going to be tired. He's got to take the cart. He's got to take these jam jars of preserves. So it's this little sweetness. The cornbread was her way of reminding him that despite any no, see, I don't know. The cornbread was her way of something. I don't want to get stuck on this. I mean, they didn't have a fight. Let's look at the conversation, right? She says, so that just happened, talking about the plant literally growing in front of their eyes. And Rick makes a joke. I reckon they shouldn't have gotten so close to the manure because before that they smelled the manure and the kids were, ugh. He knew she was talking about the plant. How had it grown so quickly? Right before their eyes. He also knew she was going to slap his back and braced for it at almost the same time it struck. You don't know what we've got growing in our front yard, do you? She asked. A magic seed, Rick said coyly, the last of its kind. Because it's carnivorous and had to be exterminated? Elm asked, voice rising slightly in genuine worry but immediately lowered. I can't believe you don't know any more than that. First thing tomorrow, head back to the market, find the fool who sowed you that seed, and learn what we've given our daughter. She'd only ordered him around that way a handful of times during their marriage, and the one time he'd pointed out that he wasn't an animal to be prodded the way she wanted, Elm had pointed out that that was exactly what he was based on the way he was acting, like a stubborn mule. I mean, that's very rough, but reckon I need to visit the market tomorrow, Rick said. No one could deny the value in what she was saying, least of all Rick. Need anything? So he's doing what she wants. So it's not a fight, but he's acquiescing so quickly to her. Her way of thanking him for acquiescing so meekly to her demands of the evening before. I knew there was an I. I knew there was an I in there. That's better. That's what I want to say. The story needs to inform other parts of the story. The characters need to inform what's happening. Okay. His door. I don't know. I don't want to take too long with this. I don't want to show every single movement. Ugh. All right. Opening his door. The hinges creaked nearly as sharply as the stairs. Another chore he'd been putting off. One he would give to Nikki. That's a recurring theme. It's a farm. There's always more work to do on the farm. So there's going to be little things. And actually, that's great. See, this is great. Here's what's going to happen. The hinges creak nearly as sharply as the stairs. The entire, short as it was, the entire trip from his bedroom we'll say, like, 2 steps across the hall and into Faye's bedroom played a percussive beat. I can't concentrate because there's a bird outside the window. It's right in my eye line. It's just sitting on a tree branch singing. It's kind of cool though. We have they're called chamse, and they're these tiny little birds. They have kind of dark brown heads. They have like a white band around the neck, and then they have sort of grayish tannish body. And I mean, they're really small birds, and they're everywhere. And I think they're called chamse because sesame seeds in Korea are called chamke, sesame seeds, and they look like sesame seeds, and they're everywhere. They're building nests in the roof. We have this tile roof, and they go up under and into the roof, and they build their nests there. So they're all over the place, and I don't know how long birds live. A couple years. They could be birds that made nests previously, because they seem very comfortable with us. They let me get within a pace or two of them before they start hopping away. But I'm also always outside doing stuff. Okay. Stop looking at the bird, Mike. This is really rough, but I'm having fun concentrating on percussive noises. So I'm thinking of a percussive beat. The Elm's downstairs. There's a rattling noise. He walks on the floor. He's plodding. That's like a horse walking, heavy footsteps. He opens his door. The hinges creak. You have that sound. The stairs are creaky, right? And I like this idea that he opens the door, creak, step, step, each step there's a creak. He opens his daughter's door, creak, and then he steps into her room, and there's all these sounds. This whole thing is really rough. I think it's better if we start with that idea, introduce this idea of the percussive beat. The hinges creaked. And changes. Short as it was, the trip from his bedroom into Faye's played a percussive beat, but I feel like it should be not just a percussive beat, played a constant percussive beat, played a percussive beat worthy of musicians at the Harvest Fair. That's a little bit better. And then we can describe the actions. Opening his door, the hinges creak nearly as sharply as the stairs. Let's not talk about the stairs. The hinges, opening his door, the hinges creaked. Maybe the door is even warped. Maybe. Like the slightly warped door, scraped. Is there a good word for that? That noise of wood sliding on wood? Scraped across the frame. The hinges creaked. Slightly warped door scraped across the frame. The hinges creaked. Each of his 2 steps across the hall struck. Did I already say struck? I don't think so. So that would work really well. Struck. I'm thinking about striking notes, chords. Struck's probably not the right word. Each of his 2 steps across the hall, produced. And then I don't want to say creak again. Produced. It's a whining sound. The floorboard. Grinding creaks. That doesn't quite feel right, but I don't want creak again though. Or maybe not that. Just he's got heavy feet, so it's a boom. thuds. Light thuds. And let's not say 2 steps. Let's just say each of his steps across the hall produce light thuds. That way we have a doot, 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 doot. We can imagine it. Followed by the low creak of Faye's hinges. I don't think we need to say that it's Faye's door's hinges. And I'm going to make a note for myself. Try to add like animal sounds. That might also work really well. The hinges sound like a cat. Instead of this percussive beat, it could be animals. Each step across the floor sounds like a bullfrog's croak. Faye's hinges sound like a squeaking rat instead of a cat. That could be fun. That could be fun too. And in the background, Faye continued talking in a downpour of words, each more excited than the last. And a second glance assures him she has retrieved the spare sprayer and that it's filled with water. That would actually fit really well. We've already seen a sprayer. We've seen it filled. I think that fits with his character. He's a farmer. Again, a farmer. He would know every piece of his equipment. He's working with these things day in, day out. He would know every bit of rust on his rake. He would know every little ding in a shovel. I mean, he would be so familiar with everything. So she'll be doing that. Faye, he said, keeping his voice low, let's go downstairs and see what your mom is making for breakfast. She I think she would be slightly startled. I think the other thing is she's giving light, careful, spurts, sprays, and I'm gonna say startled, but I'll probably cut that. Startled, she blasted a spiral staircase of leaves. That's a nice image. The leaves in kind of a spiral around the vine. I'm going to keep it. A spiral staircase of leaves. It's rough. It'll need work, but that's a nice image. Or it could just be a cluster. And immediately looked guilty I think she would. She would feel a little bit of shame, a little bit guilty. Oh, you look what you made me do. Look what you made me do, she scolded. Sorry about that. Turning back to the plant, she said, sorry about that. But I feel like I think it's better if he says her name, and that startles her. And then she's talking to the plant, and then he says, let's go downstairs and see what your mom is making for breakfast. I'll tell you. I'll tell you, Joe. Hold on. Let me just get this last thought down. Let's go downstairs and see what your mom is making for breakfast. I've already been down there, she said, and shook the, extra, and shook the sprayer at him as evidence to support her claim. She's making cornbread. Cornbread and probably something else. Okay, I'm trying to think about this scene. I am trying to focus on this writing. Look what you made me do, she scolded. Turning back to the plant, she said, sorry about it. Let's go downstairs and see what your mom is doing. I've already been down there, she said, and shook the sprayer at him as evidence to support her claim. I think also there should be, she's picking up some of her older sisters, like the sassy tone. Tingling, aches, right as rain, she said. Rick had once been as imaginative as any child growing up in the countryside, bored with repetitive farm chores and seeking the escape of daydreams. But it had been years, maybe even decades, since he'd allowed himself any, flights of fancy. As if making up for lost time, his mind flooded with possibilities. Faye doubling then tripling in size. This is going to be a list, so I'll do it like this. Fade doubling, then tripling in size. Growing so large that she broke through the house's upper floor, wearing the roof like a... What is happening? Wearing the roof like a hat. I'm thinking Alice in Wonderland. She drinks the thing, she grows big, and then I have this nice image of Faye suddenly so big that the roof is like a hat on her head. That's a kind of a fun image, but there would be darker ones. Her doubling over in pain. Yeah, so now I've got doubling and doubling. Got to change that. Her doubling over in pain. Writhing on the floor while he writhing in agony while he cradled her in his arms, helpless. Vines tearing her apart from the inside. I don't want to get too gross, but there's a nice contrast there. He's imagining all these horrible things. How do you feel? Are you okay? He's imagining these horrible things, and right as rain, she said. Is it beatific? Beatific smile? Shining across her... Not across, shining brighter than the sun. Something. Beatific. I don't think I've ever used the word beatific. And I spelled it correctly. Yeah, blissfully happy. Yeah, I mean, that's perfect. That's exactly what I want. I know that Nikki and Elm come up. Nikki reappeared ahead of his mother, pushing Rick further into the room. Maybe following his example, Elm froze in the doorway. Taking a long moment to survey the room. Rick followed her eyes as they traced the long course of vines snaking across the ceiling. Something like that. And then she's the mom. She would know exactly what to do. Um, I know. I know it's wonderful, Faye said, but I don't. But you can't all barge into my room. Especially not. No. Okay, I know it's wonderful, but you can't all barge into my room. I mean, she's still completely oblivious. She has no idea. She has no sense that there's anything wrong with this. She asked for a magic seed. She got a magic seed. It grew into a magic plant. To her, this is right. This is how things should be. The only thing she cares about is the fact that everyone's barging into her room. Rick held up a hand to quiet her. All his attention still on Elm. It grew an apple for our daughter, he said, which she ate. Just the facts, right? She needs to know that it grew an apple. And then how would Elm react? Her daughter has just eaten a magic apple, basically. Um, maybe there should be a moment of tension, right? A moment of fear as Rick, um, looks to her for a solution. And there's the slightest, moment of consideration. Elm purses her lips. But then she would say, I guess you'd better get washed and dressed then. Looks like you're taking a trip into town with your father. Such a simple solution. I mean, Rick's so worried, imagining all these horrible things. And surely Elm is too, but she just purses her lips and just says the most logical thing. She's a mom. Just, I guess you're going into town. And then, see, I moved this. I gotta put this back. Where is it? Yeah, right here. Boom. I need to add this. The chores. Okay. And then we've got Elma's doesn't come until recalls. The other kids go in their bedrooms. That's done. So that one little bit of notes has now turned into 1, 2, roughly 3, 2.5 pages. I mean, large size text, but still. I think Elm's calm control of the otherworldly situation combined with Faye's childlike wonder and excitement. Calmed Rick. I had this image of the room being filled with honey, that he feels slow, his thoughts clogged, and Elm is Elm and Faye are this like cleansing influence. Washing away negativity as efficiently. Oh, sorry. Has she clean the house? A parallel between her motherly cleaning duties, cooking duties, and the way that she also cares for the family and keeps them positive. I mean, things are getting real rough at this point. I'm starting to run out of energy. This is the longest I've written for a really long time. But staying true to the day's theme, a strangled cry from the field. Muddied all their moods in an instant. Okay. Okay. You two go see what that was. I'll get the girls. Washed up and fed. I wrapped the corner pieces of cornbread for you, and there's a fresh jug of water already in the cart. I was thinking about milk, maybe milk. I mean, they're on a farm; they would have fresh milk. But I think water's better. He's gonna want to drink water if it's a long trip. I mean, this is Elm's thing. She's taking care of her family. The little detail. I wrapped the corner pieces of the cornbread. It's not just that he loves cornbread. He especially loves the corner pieces. And he's the father. He's the patriarch of the family. That's how this society runs. So he gets all four corner pieces. But he can also share one with Faye since he's taking her. And that would be a nice way to start part 5 when he's going back to town. Faye is chewing on a corner piece of the cornbread. That would be a nice way to start. I hope you enjoyed that video. Look in the description down below. There's a lot more that you can find. My blog, my self-published novel. I have a stream on Twitch, and there are a lot of other YouTube videos. From the Height of a Mind, I'm Mike.